everyone's waiting to hear.
Put the counting bit that I do in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
Do you listen to these shows at all?
No, I don't like listening back to my own voice. I hate it.
Well, nor do I, but I still have to sit there.
No, but you do like editing it. You
It's
do.
all right.
I'll edit it. I'm more
Okay.
than
Sure.
3, 2, 1.
Hello,
Go,
everyone.
Miles.
Hello. How you doing?
Well.
And welcome back. This is the Trout Spinners with Miles Pennell, Gary. Just talking over me. This is a new recording software. So we're actually recording it through Zoom this time. We normally do Skype. So this could go tits up, or this could go the best show we've ever done. That sounded great. That's what people will be saying.
Yeah, but the best show we've ever done, that's not really an accolade, is it? Like, because that's like saying the best defecation you've had.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I made a nice salmon risotto just now, salmon and fennel. My sister often jokes around the fact that that's pretty much all I make.
Fennel?
Yeah, I love fennel.
Remember we put fennel in Alan?
Did
we? He was buying fennel. Yeah, I think he was buying fennel. Like, because we just found it funny as a herb. And now you're actually using it all these years later.
Yeah, it's one of the more comical herbs, isn't it? The fennel root. We've had a bit of a break.
We have, there's things going on, and I know, against contrary to popular opinion, we do have quite busy lives, and we just hadn't managed to do one for a while. We'll be honest, there was like this application, this competition for writing, so we needed to focus on that last week and the week before to get a shoddy shite application in, which we've now done, which won't win. We're going to put a collage of all our rejections together and maybe put it
in the shape of Karl's head.
Yeah, nice round. Takes the edge off. But yeah, so we haven't done a show for a while, but we're doing a show today. I'm quite excited about it, mate.
I am actually. It's a good episode. Sorry?
Yeah, what have you got there, by the way? It's
a black coffee, mate.
Oh, it's a coffee, because it looks a bit like what I've got.
Oh, Guinness. Oh, good. No, do you know what? Because I'm actually still on a bit of a hangover, if I'm honest with you, Gary. I bought a rather nice bottle of wine the other day, and me and my girlfriend had that, because we were on a bit of not a detox, as you will, but we're trying to cut down alcohol during the week. So I was like, I really fancy that. And we'll enjoy this wine, we'll savor it, right? Then I called my sister called, and we had a bit of a late night Zoom. So I went to buy a slightly cheaper, more acidic white wine.
£4.50.
Yeah, it wasn't much more than that. But why is the selection of wine so mediocre at those all night off licenses? You'd think you'd have at least one decent nice.
They do. Mine has decent ones, but you have to pay. And I don't. I'm not saying I'm do, but you have to pay 11, 12 quid for it.
Oh, well, I should have done that, because I tell you, I had such a migraine yesterday, and I'm still on the come down. So
was it red?
Well, no, it was white.
Oh, okay. Well, red gives me a hangover quite badly, but not terribly, because I'm so used to drinking it now, sadly. but white doesn't touch.
So what are you drinking today?
Well, I don't really want to say.
Please do say.
Okay, I had a bottle of red wine last night, not the whole bottle, just a little end of it here. So FLJS is happy with that. So then I'm happy with that.
Soon we'll actually be having an alcoholic beverage with one of our interviewees that we've got coming up. So in the news of two really exciting guests, Gary, tell us about these guests.
Well, now both of them, I just say this, one thing about guests on our show, it's very hard to get guests who are directly involved in the Ricky Gervais show. Obviously, there's the three of them. That's the main one. It's incredibly difficult, as you can imagine, to get them. We've got Claire, we've had Dickie Anders, we've had Andrew Phillips, but there aren't many people who are actually involved in the show. Whereas a Peep Show podcast, you've got all the cast, the secondary characters, everyone, the directors, the producers. This, we're a bit limited. So we're kind of branching out a bit into guests who are involved with Ricky, Steve, and or Karl in some way. So we've got two. One of them, I can't remember their names, but is involved with, he was director of An Idiot Abroad. And so obviously works very closely with Karl. He's also directed Gordon Ramsay and other people, which we'll ask about, which will be interesting. And the other one, you tell me about the other one because I can't remember now.
So yeah, to put a name to a face,
Yeah,
that was Luke. That was Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell was
sorry,
he was,
if you're listening. I don't want to. I forgot your name.
you haven't done your research, mate. Yeah, he was the director of An Idiot Abroad, and now he's showrunner exec of Studio Ramsey that did the Gordon, Fred, and Gino road trip, which are equally brilliant. So I can't recommend those enough. And lots of nice similarities between An Idiot Abroad and that show. And the second guest is Nigel Williams, who was the director on like The Office, Extras. He did a lot of stand-up shows. And I think just to like what Gareth's saying, we're trying to get guests who are like involved in that early period of their career. We're particularly interested, I think, this show is discovering like their dynamic and their style of comedy at that time, because it has changed since then, I think is fair to say. Yeah, Nigel was also Ricky's plaything. You would have all seen the Taping Nigel videos.
Yeah, it's very funny if you haven't seen it. But so both of them have agreed tentatively to come on. We don't have any firm dates or anything, but they will be probably. They might not be for a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks, but they will be on. And for us, it's difficult. The pool of guests we've got isn't like a normal show. There's only 3 of them that are directly involved. There's a couple of other people like Claire and Andrew Phillips who are kind of partly involved. And then apart from that, you've kind of got no one else. So as you say, we're looking for people who are involved in general with either Ricky and Steve or Ricky, Steve and Karl in other ways, in early forms of their career, or even late forms. Actually, that would be quite interesting. Like to get the director of Sick of It would be an interesting guest to see how Karl is now and contrast that with how he was then. So yeah, those are the guests who are coming up. But today we've got a special show, little review of episode 42 of the Ricky Gervais Show on XFM.
Correct.
I think it's 42, isn't it?
It is 42.
One. It
was hard as well because bloody Pilkipedia's back under maintenance or whatever.
That's a lie. I hate when the website says, it's under maintenance. It's not under maintenance, it's just down. It's like they've called an engineer out, like he's working on it constantly for the last few weeks.
Well, the Pilkipedia dedicated engineer. Yeah. Okay, so this was originally broadcast on 14th of June 2003. Much to the annoyance of Ricky and Steve, Karl is leaving early today as he's going on holiday with his Mam and Dad to Cornwall to visit the monkey world there. I'll put a link to the original description, as we always do, in the
link to the show in the description.
Yes. Right, and when you're ready, you can come back and listen to us. Hello.
No one actually does that ever.
I want to know if we've got any Cornish listeners who have actually been to Monkey World, or just
find out next week that it was shit and there was like these little furry monkeys that don't look like monkeys.
Woolly monkeys, yeah. What are your initial thoughts, Gary?
On the show?
Yeah.
Or just my life? Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. It's in a run of about 5 or 6 that I like. It's actually they cover a lot of different areas in this show, like more so than other shows. It just seems to me that that's the case. They go from topic to topic more than they usually do. Love the cash point stuff. Very good, very strong. The Rockbusters, I've given a score. I've started to rate the Rockbusters 5 out of 10. Not great Rockbusters. Monkey News, again, not the best, but it's all right. But yeah, they cover a lot of different topics, and obviously, there's a great Steve Karl dynamic in this show as well. The conflict and tension. There's classic kind of tension that every fan of the show will know and love. And yeah, overall, it's a solid episode. As I say, the Monkey News I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how many topics they covered. Actually, if someone sort of sits down and counts, it might not be more than average, but it just seems more than average. Like they go from topic to topic this show, more than usual, and I think it fares well.
One thing that always gets me with the cash point story is at the start, because basically there's like Ricky's lost some money and he's a bit annoyed. Then he goes home and just has a nap. I want to know just to forget about it, and I want to know like, was Ricky actually that rich that he didn't care? Because that's how it comes across. Or do you think he's just quite carefree about money?
Yeah, Well, he wasn't careful. He brought up the point that he'd lost 400 quid cash. So it was like he was saying, like, this did mean something to me, i.e. that's why I'm going to bring it up. It didn't mean nothing. And I think when he says, I had a nap and I got over it, that bit's almost the embellishment, whereas it did mean something to him. I certainly never have listened to this story and felt like Ricky was being arrogant in the sense he was saying, well, 400 cash didn't matter. I had a nap to get over it. It was fine. I thought it's more like it's just a story of like, wow, can you believe that I lost £400 in notes, not just from my bank account? Yeah, but he would have been rich enough that he wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah, at that stage, yeah, he's probably a millionaire. I imagine he's a millionaire by that stage.
Do you think though, really?
Close to a millionaire. Yeah, they probably would have got the commission for the office. He got directors' rights, writers' rights, the main actors' rights. Series 1 had been out. Series 2, I think, had been out by this stage or was out. And I think he would have been doing absolutely fine. But yeah, still losing 400 quid cash. It's like, what's the most cash you've ever lost in one? Because you haven't done this for a while, but Miles lost his wallet many times since I've known him. He's often ring me and say, I lost my wallet, mate, again.
The time that was the worst for that is there were 2 times. One time where I was in a branch of Barclays and I got some money out and I drew 30 quid out and like literally like this story, but I just walked away.
Or a little Chinese fella.
That was me. Okay. And I just walked away. And I've
done that.
I was so depressed. I was so depressed. It's like, you know, when Steve does that story in series 1 where he buys a PlayStation and he's looking around Oxford Street trying to get the best deal, and he buys something that he thinks is the best deal, and then he goes somewhere and he could get 20 quid off, and he's like, well, I could return this, and he's like, all the rest of the day I could just see that £20 because he hates being ripped off, doesn't he? I'm a bit like that with the not being ripped off, but when it's your own money, that's a bit different.
You know, when you withdraw 30 quid from a cash point, then stupidly walk away from it, you're not being ripped off. You're just wasting money. You're just leaving money in the pool.
Well, you do have to think. You think like, just all that things that the good things that money could be spent on, like cider and fags. Yeah. It was destined for great things. That 30 quid.
Yeah, he's fag free, Miles. But yeah, I've been to a cash point and had seen cash in it as well. Like,
have you?
Cash in it? Yeah, and kind of sort of waited because it's really awkward. I don't want to sort of take it out because it looks as if I'm taking it. If someone comes back, and it'll look bad. It was only like a tenner, but eventually, you know, it just got to the point that no one's going to literally, someone else will just take it. I can't go and hand it in. No one's going to claim it back. I think I just took it in the end.
That's what Steve does it, isn't it? He's like, but how he justifies it is so brilliant. He has this very karmic way of going, well, get the world back.
Let me say what Steve did is very different because I went to cash point and the cash was already there, but Steve actually, the card was in and he typed in 30 quid cash, please. You know, it is different, but it's very like Steve, and I can totally believe the story he says. I don't think he's embellished, like when he found a little old lady's purse and his mum said, oh, you might get a reward from that, and I believe totally that was in his mind when he 30 quid cash.
This happened to my girlfriend though. She lost someone's purse, or it was something like that. She worked in the restaurant, and so she basically posted it back to them. This exact same thing happened, and she did actually get 20 quid. And just as happened before, like when she's had like very good service, and somehow like they obviously go to the restaurant to ask for the address, and it gets like money sent to us. It's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I think if someone returned my wallet.
I bet you're the sort of. I think there's a bit of a trend going on now, isn't it, of people stealing dogs and like asking for hostage. Yeah, this is happening a few times, and I bet you're the sort of person that would nick a little terrier and.
Weird thing to say to another human. I bet you're the sort of person who'd nick a dog.
And then £1,000. ONO.
About my previous behaviour in the 8 years we've known each other, make me think I was the sort of person who.
Well, you want a cat or dog, something to starve the lonely nights away.
I do want a cat, not a dog. Yeah, but I wouldn't steal one.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, we'll get one off Pets at Home, you know, tenner.
Oh, you people love going to Pets at Home and just like looking at the fish and stuff. It's a very cheap day out, isn't it, for a kid?
Yeah, there's an article online that's like about Pets at Home being a day out, like, and the staff getting really pissed off at that Because
I used to do.
they want to sell animals, get their commission. But like, they're just like,
But it's like sell dog. We used to go to like Carpet World or whatever, and you know the big rolls of carpet that they have there, and you can like roll through them when you're a kid. It was the most exciting thing in the world.
easily pleased.
I know. There wasn't that much to do in Ipswich though growing up, to be fair. So
Electricity first.
yeah, there was no monkey world. This episode is fantastic because it's Karl's leaving early, which is
ridiculous. Yeah, I like what Steve says. It's like Dr. Fox. Oh, I'm just going to shoot off early, going to Cornwall. It is true. Like, here's Darren. No, it doesn't happen. And it's weird because one thing I've never understood about that is he leaves early, right? Then he comes back. They literally do another something like 2.5 minutes. So he has left 2.5 minutes early. Like, what difference would that 2.5 minutes make? Like, surely if he needs to leave, if the 2.5 minutes is going to make the difference, he would leave 15 minutes early just to make sure he's not like right there at the time it leaves. I never understood why he leaves early, because he's there right up to the end. It makes almost no difference. I know. Like, I'm just having a go at him. It's just funny he leaves early. I've never really understood. He's there like right up to the very last bit.
I think it's because like, after a show, normally as a producer, you probably would have to either take some notes or you'd need to move some files or something like that. Maybe we've got a radio producer listening who can tell us what you do after a radio show.
If we've got anyone sort of successful in any way in the fields that we want to get into, maybe gets a job.
Yeah, it is ridiculous isn't it, how honest he is. It's like Kadu was shooting off soonish, like just Karl will often talk the whole big debacle about is Karl lazy or is he like really hard worker, and
hard worker,
and I just love the fact that he goes fast at my work, got the gifts here, they're packed up, they're ready to go, all I need to do is whacking the dress on. And I always appreciate that about Karl. He's quite good at forward thinking, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player, and he really is a hard worker. And it's kind of Ricky does his thing, and he does it periodically. Anytime Karl has any time off, though today it's about 5 minutes he's having off from the show, but he's like, Ricky always brings up, me and Steve have got like, we're doing like tons of things in the week. You've got just one job, mate. How are you going to get? And Ricky loves to bring that up, and that's kind of like that's Ricky, an example of where Ricky is being arrogant, but in a funny way, like instead of the just arrogant that he is now, like he's sort of, but it is quite an arrogant thing to say, like to bring up how hard he works in comparison with Karl, whereas I reckon Karl was having longer and harder weeks than Ricky Gervais was, especially back then after they'd written the second series. Like, because there's other episodes where Steve says to Ricky, what have you done all week? You just sit there eating cheese and do this little show on a Saturday. Karl is a harder worker than Ricky or Steve, yet he gets the flack for nothing. But funny.
I'm a big fan of the Princess Diana into Flora story. That is, for me, a few weeks ago we were talking about like the first time we heard that, and I can't remember what I was doing, but I just remember the first time I heard that, that really made me laugh. I
really thought you were talking about the first time you heard Diana was dead.
Everyone always says that, don't they? Like, where were you? It's like one of those.
I remember exactly where I was. I was coming down my stairs to my room. I used to live in the loft. My dad built me.
That where they put you?
That's where they put me. Yeah, you put a bit of carpet down, get a little bed in the corner. I was halfway down. I still remember my mum just sort of said, she looked horrified, just like, Diana's died. It was, it's like people have a go at it now and say, oh, it shouldn't be like a big thing, like it's not significant compared with other events, and that's true. There are more sad events than one person dying, but it was a cultural event in this country, and it was just interesting to kind of be around in that time. I like my next assembly at school, it was all about Diana. It was a big cultural event. As much as, it probably shouldn't be. There's bigger things that happen in other countries, bit worse events, but it became cultural. So, but it's interesting they bring it up here. Bear in mind, when they bring it up here, especially, and again, because I was going to mention, like, when he mentioned Shipman as well, like another cultural thing, but in a completely different way. It wasn't that long after those events. Now we're looking back with, and you can make Diana jokes, everyone does, but back then it wasn't that far away from Shipman, what he'd done, yet he still brings it up for Rockbusters. He uses Shipman, and it's kind of...
he even says like, my mam used to use him. Like,
Yeah, that's funny.
but I just think there's something so funny about going that Carl's dad is the sort of person that probably believed conspiracy theories back then. Conspiracy theories are like all the rage now, right? That everyone like fucking loves them, right? Makes you wonder.
It's because they grow on the internet. They didn't grow on the internet at that time because there was no.
It's just a fun thing. All those flowers, and you got interfloor. I remember when Princess Diana died because that's kind of where I got my first panic attacks. Kind of how I'd like learn about death in a way. It's a cheery note, isn't it?
Probably the first person like that I'd known of that was a very significant person that died. Like, because I hadn't experienced any death in the family at that time either. So yeah.
I think it's because it's like she was portrayed as like a loving figure and a mum. When you make that association with like your own family, and then you're like, oh, anything could happen to them.
Yeah, there's interesting parallels. I was thinking the other day because there's this documentary out, Free Britney. There's this Britney Spears thing.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I haven't seen it.
You know she's playing at GAY later tonight.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. Do you want to do a quick test?
Yeah. Can I? Oh, is that day?
What? Even Liza Minnelli's?
No, but that kind of thing would have been that documentary would be made today about Diana had she not died, because she was treated in a very similar way, like just to be asked about her husband's affairs in interviews and things. You know, it's very sexist kind of way of looking at things because she was a woman. She was seen as vulnerable, but yeah, she was obviously just just hearing that someone's died in a car crash is just weird anyway. Someone who's like young, and I met Princess Diana and William and Harry, and not because I'm in royal circles or anything, but just at the Trocadero with my granddad, my grandpa, and she was just there. So yeah, but it was kind of like a big shock. Anyway,
all right, Will's all right. Harry, how are you, mate?
Yeah, no, I didn't know them at the time. I didn't know they were.
I'm surprised that Ricky, because he's trying to be cynical about Mother's Day and Father's Day and saying, oh no, don't do it. Like they're literally.
It's true. I'm with him there. I'm with him.
But come on,
that's so a little Mother's Day. Oh shit, that reminds me.
It's soon. It's the 14th.
My grandma's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, what are you going to get for her? Gift voucher? An email.
But I must do that today. Remind me at the end of the show.
I'm reminding you of your family affairs
on a podcast. How does that work? I know it's bad.
No, it's just like it is Mother's Day, so I've got to send my mum something. But I think you should buy your mum something for Mother's Day. Maybe not Father's Day, depending on your relationship with your dad. In case mine a very bad relationship, so you're going to be receiving out from me. But there are other days that are more pointless, like I don't know, International Cat Day, and
every day is a something day, isn't
it?
So, there's kind of like it's an industry. But yeah, I'm with Ricky. Kind of, it is invented by card companies, but still, I do buy into it. It doesn't mean I say to my mum, no, you're not getting anything again this year. Sorry, keeping the Ferrero myself in my flat.
Oh, can you tell the listeners about the thing?
Oh, what?
About the thing, the stand-up thing.
Yeah, well, I entered a stand-up competition for Make 'Em Laugh, and I sent my entry in, and I've got through to the final night, and so I'm going to be performing live on the 27th of March. I might, I don't know if I'll do this yet, post a link to tickets. They're free on Twitter, so the audience can tune in if they want, but I'm very...
Don't have to.
But I don't really want people I know. Miles listening or watching is going to be pain enough.
I'm just going to watch you like this, like staring down my lens.
We came on air. He loves me being under pressure, but him not being under pressure. And so it's a perfect night for him.
Bit of what is it? The Schadenfreude. I've got a bit of a sadistic bone in my body. The dark side of me.
I'd put it a wanker's bone. different semantics, really, isn't it? But going back to the I just wanted to say on the cash point discussion, Ricky is completely the voice of reason there. Like, I'm totally with Ricky there. It is wrong to take 30 quid from someone. I just want to put a full stop to this point discussion because we kind of moved on from it. It is wrong, and Carl's wrong to take 20. And when Ricky says, "Sorry, you two are winding me up," like that. That's how I feel, because it's kind of like...
I totally I love that Steve did it. I think it's like totally wrong, of course.
Oh, I
It is,
love it because it's funny. And
but the
it's
fact
funny.
that Carl's so honest, I was listening to an episode when just recently, as I do. The good thing about you, Carl, is you tell everyone the way that you look. Now, I told you about that, didn't I? Yeah, I told you about that. I
Yeah.
just like his
Really
honesty.
honest as well, like about his kind of thriftiness, and that is an example of it. Well, that's actually theft, but
Theft.
theft. I also related to Carl saying that it's like when you find out your friend's parents are really old. Because I've got really young parents, and at the parents' evening, I remember seeing parents, and they were like in their 60s then. My parents have just turned 60. They're young parents, so it's like, wow, they're like old men. I don't know. It's just weird, but I related to that a bit as well. She's younger than my mum.
Yeah, she's 56 now. So, but it doesn't. I know what you mean. I used to have the exact same thing, and or just like balding or grey hair was a real signifier of age.
Well, yeah.
Whereas now it's probably not so much now. But I remember back then, I was like, oh. But I remember one time there was I was waiting for school. My dad came to pick me up, like one of the few times he picked me up, and he's bald, or he was going balding then, and he had a ponytail,
Oh.
but it was like it was a sort of like Cole Pilkington, but it was like a ponytail with like the cheapest like bands, like, and I think it was like neon pink or yellow or something like that. And I just remember thinking, oh, can you like just meet me halfway down the road, please? The humiliation.
You've done well with your hair because you're
Yeah. Well, I've always got good hair. I've always had good. It's probably the thing I like. Well, I think you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? You've got to enjoy hair. It's important. It's just
I
like
use
when
Regain for men.
we've got to get them to be a sponsor. We've got to get them to be a sponsor. What's your favourite Carl put down in this episode?
Well, the whole bit about it is tight. And I've even written here down so harsh on Steve. Like, again, especially saying because he's like, I know I take the mickey out of you because of the way you look, but you can't help that. Even that bit, which is supposed to be like a little like soother to what he's going to say next, is so insulting. Like, just because Steve can't help it. You know, you'd much rather take the piss out of someone for something they do, which is fair enough. Like, to be tight, all right, take the piss out of it, but for their looks, which he has to bring up, even in this one where he's just taking the piss out of Steve being tight. I know what Steve's like, it's tight, but he still prefaces it by bringing up his looks.
Yeah.
Even though it's in a disguised way of like, oh, I'm pretending to be nice here to say, oh yeah, you can't help that. But that's it's so insulting in itself. That's the worst thing, I think, where he says, I don't take your mickey out of you for the way you look, but you can't help that. And he can't help it.
They're probably the bits of the show that I know like the best because I often just listen back to montages of Steve versus Carl.
Oh yeah, and it's on the Steve versus Karl compilation. You know?
Well, I just love the fact that he gets in early. He says, "You bring me a track with loads of effing and jeffing. You want me to 5-1, Steve?"
Well, that's my favourite quotes at 5-1, but not when he says it at the beginning, but when he says it at the end.
Yeah,
5-1.
Do you know what's really interesting as well? At the end, they sort of Karl goes, and Ricky and Steve are there to finish the show, which they've done like loads of times. It's fine. And then they go, I want you to clog Karl's inboxes, basically try and get everyone to gang up on Karl. The next episode that we're going to review, they say, Rick, they sent this all to us. And you know that the audience are so on the side of Karl. They're always on Karl's side. They're never on Ricky and Steve's.
I don't know about that. I think, no, a lot of the audience do buy into the piss taking of Karl. They probably
Still do, but their side, they're in doing that, they're basically saying, no, we're not going to do what you told us to do, Ricky and Steve.
No, I think they're just getting confused as they were putting on their socks or whatever. Yeah, there's one bit I'd like to know, and it comes up after that, your parents.
I know what you're going to say.
And well, I'm just going to, this is like, sometimes Ricky does this, he'll mention like a bit of a story, but he won't, like, Steve will either say, no, we can't tell that, or in this case, they just move on. And it's where he says, what was that? Who calls him mum?
calls
You
him
know
Mum.
where he says that? What was it? Who calls him Mum? And he's laughing to himself. There was a story, obviously, about one of their friends or something calling someone Mum, like a teacher Mum or something.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered what that story was, because they, like, with a lot of Ricky's stories, he says it and Steve's like, no, or they just move on. I'd love to know what was behind that.
Because bits I don't really care about the show, like the Harry the bonus thing, is a bit too. But I'm not having that. I'm just not having that. Karl goes, do you think you could do that? It's like, oh no, of course you can't. Why would you even ask that?
No, of course he knows not. But we also know he knew a monkey didn't drive to Spain. But we still love that.
But this one's legit. This one is on the borderline, because you're basically saying, like,
I know he knows you can't have all your bones taken out. I know he knows that. But he's kind of contemplating it because he knows it's funny, and it's kind of the thing that he would sort of think as an audience would expect him to think, given his role in the show. So, but it's I think it's just funny. It's not profound moment of the show, but of course he doesn't believe it. Of course.
I like a better kind of comparison to that bit is when he's talking about in the podcasts. What's the most organs that you could take out of a human being for it to still to function?
Would it be the same person? That's another one on series 3.
Yeah.
Like, are you still the same person? You have new kidney, new liver, new heart.
Just call it a day, wouldn't you? Stick a new lung on you. I wonder what could you have? I'll go first. Maybe let's do a sort of like Jenga game of remove parts of your body and let's see how far we get.
Parts, because I got a sharp knife in the cupboard. Because if we're dedicated to the audience.
Okay, so I'm taking the left leg off first.
Left leg?
Or both legs. You can still...
Okay, I would take my right earlobe.
Okay, you've still got one ear, so you're going to keep that.
I could hear still from that right.
Yeah, you've got one there. I'm going to get rid of one kidney.
I would take my anus.
You need that. You need that.
I need the actual bit of the end. I mean, I think it's now. You know what I mean? It's a part, like an organ. It's not really an organ.
It's a fun party game to play with the kids. Waddingtons.
Yeah, Waddingtons. Yeah, get involved. Waddingtons. If you're interested in Waddingtons, we probably own the rights. It's intellectual property now, but yeah, we'll let you do that.
When they're talking about that anxiety dreams, I just don't have a lot going on in my head when Karl's.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, Ricky's really Ricky's kind of like, I like when Ricky's talking about stuff like that, like, because where he's not trying to be funny, he's just kind of, I like when he's trying to be funny as well, but I like when he's kind of just talking through something a bit philosophical and like, I can totally believe he's the sort of person who had that dream and he was like, looked down and he's like, I don't care. Don't care. Clearly it's still an anxiety dream of some sort, even if you look down and think you don't care. I don't really have anxiety. I have this thing called sleep paralysis. It's horrible.
What's that mean?
It's where you wake up, you are staring at the ceiling, you're usually on your back and you're completely paralyzed.
Really?
Yeah, it's a horrible thing, real thing. It sounds like...
Can you not move then?
You can't move. You're trying to move, and obviously eventually you can, but it's very scary. It's horrible. If anyone's had that, get in touch and let me know what you did to kind of cure it, if you did.
With your bladder as well. How the hell does that work?
No, I don't piss myself, but yeah, it's just horrendous. Anyway, are you enjoying the show? Hope you are. Yeah. What else is horrendous in life?
Oh, I think that's the time to wrap it up. Shall we have a little break?
Okay, take 27. We're having a few audio issues today, so we've actually moved from Zoom to Skype. So welcome back from the little break. I've already done it.
If you've made it that far.
Yeah, if you've made it this far, you must be a fan. So thank you. We've just had a general discussion about the show. Hope the audio quality wasn't too bad. We're now going to do our favourite quotes. We've got XFM in the community, and apparently we pick a song probably, which I haven't prepared for again. And that. Yeah. I need to kind of cut my favourite quotes quite a bit actually.
How many have you got?
There's about 17, which I'm not.
28.
28.
You better start then, I suppose.
Okay, well, I'm not going to do all of them, but I just like this is when Rick is kind of speaking too fast, so he makes a mistake. Little Japanese fella.
What's that?
Little Japanese fella. It's so when he says someone is sent in a Japanese cartoon or
I'll tell you what's not clever. A dwarf with learning difficulties.
yeah, I'll stay away.
It's the qualifier. It's the qualifier after that because Karl goes, yeah, like all right. You said it now. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a bit annoying. This I love. I've always loved him say this. I don't know why, but in the middle of a forest. I just love that. In the middle of a unless I found it in the middle of a forest, because he's really thinking of what's like. He's a genuine.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just love him say in the middle of a forest.
Now I know what Steve's like. He is tight. And you know that, Steve. Like
I've written that down, but I've spelled that capital T, IGH, capital T. That's how I wrote that down. Tight. It's the T at the end that makes it. Well, 30. It's like where it corrects it, 165 quid. Well, 30.
I might be buying them now as a gift because I'm a generous guy.
Yeah, I'm quite a generous guy. I've got that as well. That's it. That's the quite a lot. So it's part of the way he says, what's he say?
That's splash out on a lady, isn't it?
No, think I have. I can't remember the bit. Hang on. Let me think up this bit out. What's he say? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, what's yours? We'll just move on because we've.
Can you write really small on a piece of rice?
On a grain of rice. It's on now. It's on now.
On now.
It's like it's on now. It's on now.
My mum loves Columbo.
I love Columbo. It's great. Stab lady one.
You're 7 years pregnant or something like that.
Or something like that.
7 years pregnant or something like that. What like?
Well, Steve knows just the way it looks. And I've written here as a little in brackets, nice Ricky tee up. That was a nice Ricky tee up. What was it?
Because I work with you, Steve.
So I work with you, Steve. Yeah.
It's just like the last episode when they go, Steve. It's the ... Steve. It's just.
I love it. In Jim. Oh, Jim. What? Jim was pregnant with him. Oh God, it's like Russian dolls.
I love that he calls it Jim as well. It's not PE.
I know, but because he knows. Again, that's the thing of Karl's cleverness. Like we sometimes underestimate. He knows. He says that deliberately rather than PE because he knows it seems like he's in another person by saying, but also saying Jim at school.
No, that's the thought. I think they kept the tracksuits.
I think they kept the tracksuits.
Like that's perfect storytelling. Are we coming up to that monkey news, aren't we? Where he loses it, yeah,
and they talk about the tracksuit thing again. Oh, it's the same story. Yeah, totally. I love that one. Treating Suzanne like I do.
But buy a comb. I mean that is something that Karl sort of. Oh, he kind of did do that in An Idiot Abroad, didn't he? We'll have to ask about that. There's Luke Campbell's got this. He's already forwarded me on some really good anecdotes from An Idiot Abroad with Karl, including like the spider Siamese twins, the Spider Sisters, or the Siamese twins. Yeah, he's got some great stories that he had to verify with Karl. So they've been vetted within an inch of their lives.
Karl will be sick of us because we keep interviewing people who he's friends with or he's close to who keep checking with us if it's okay, and he still doesn't want to come on. And we've had 2 sets of chimps.
It's bigger than that.
We've had 2 sets of chimps.
Well, there's proof of that in this room.
That was my last one. I was just
was it?
I was going to end there. That's a nice little moment because it's a shared one.
Yeah.
That in this room. Great little.
Do you have a quote that we've missed out? spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter @spinnerspodcast.
Well, no, why don't you just keep it to yourself, to be honest, if you think we've missed out a quote?
Yeah.
Get over it.
We had that bloke, didn't we? Having a go at us and our politics.
Oh, yeah, I was going to do a little funny intro to the show. I was going to do a little sketch.
This is a nice lead into XFM in the community. Someone slagging us off.
Yeah. I wish we'd done a little sketch on that. Because I was going to do a little sketch, but... okay, I'll do this one. Are there any hungry boys or men here? Someone who wants to play and have sex with older and horny woman. A woman lying as if it were the last time. Does that sound like something you want? Maybe your 2 friends. I would gladly accept 2 if this is served. Hi.
am I saying now? It just slips out of me. I'm so eager to have a great time. Waiting for you to hear from you soon. It would be great if we could meet soon. Feels really exciting and pornographic in my body. Hope you're not intimidated by my horniness. Can be pretty wild of me. So you know, hi. Would like to show me this to you, but it's not possible here. Can you change page to this? curvesareawesome.sexydating.online so I can share some sweets for you or talk more about our adventures. Hi. Curves are awesome.
What's up with the hi?
I kept saying hi. That was an email that I had, a bit of feedback, from me.
From FLJS or no?
Probably.
No. That's a good email anyway. I've never understood with those spamming emails. Like, does anyone ever click through to them?
Well, I sent you some screenshots. Actually, that was just an email I got. But I was chatted up by an attractive lady over words with friends, and I was I was like, oh, that's nice. She's chatting to me quite early on. It's quite rare for me. She profile. I thought, but then she started saying like, do you want to just go on Teams and just click this link? And I realised it was complete bullshit. So
I think it sounds like words with more than friends. That'd be more appropriate.
That's the best thing you've ever written.
The best.
that little.
I might do your stand-up night instead of you.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you probably do.
If you're ill for
okay, here we go. So this is from Skinless Frank.
He sounds lovely, doesn't he?
Yeah. It's kind of like a take on Frank Skinner, really, and it's already skinless now because he's a Skinner. Do you think we care as much about your politics as you do? Just because you read some useless tossers from The Guardian, well done. Merry fucking Christmas. That's from Skinless Frank.
Oh, you got to have your critics, don't you? I love the fact that you'd go to that much effort to go, I'm so annoyed with your opinion. Here is my opinion to counter your opinion. So you don't have to listen.
I mean, he does know we do read useless tossers in The Guardian, but we just happen to like those tossers, But thanks, Skinless Frank. I'm glad you're enjoying
this. Mate. I really wanted to email back and go, you seem annoyed. I just wanted to make sure it's nothing I said.
Yeah, I said you should reply to that.
Anyway, let's move on to something with better feedback.
Yeah, that's a nice little lead into XFM in the community, which doesn't have a theme tune, because we canned it. We canned the theme tune for favourite quotes. I mean,
fair enough.
No one liked it. That was bad feedback. So, got some emails for us.
First one from Liam. Dear Mikey and Graham. Like those names. Yeah. Let me tell you my story. For years, I've been using the Ricky Gervais show to help me sleep. It even pissed off my girlfriend enough for her to buy me an eye mask with headphones in. That sounds amazing, an eye mask with headphones. Yeah. Birthdays more disappointing every year. Anyway, I'm always searching for new content, and I stumbled across you two. You guys knock me out better than any other podcast, and for that, I thank you. We'll have to see how the audio plays out this week.
I think we'll get another Skinless Frank type email from Liam next week. No, thanks, Liam, by the way. That's lovely.
He says, anyway, allow me to give you some feedback on your podcast.
I always worry when I hear those words.
No, it's all good, don't worry. Let me start with your intro music. What the actual F? If I'm drifting off to sleep and your episodes change before the sleep timer turns off, I'm slapped awake by that ear-destroying, banjo-plucking bullcrap. That elevator music you play whilst doing XFM in the community be much more peaceful and soft to my sleepy ears.
Yeah.
So, you're in the minority, Lever. Sorry. Next, I'd just like to say your conversation is excellent and the way you are getting on, even with COVID, is very impressive. I also think the little small talk you do about what's going on now at the start is nice and refreshing and softens up the listeners before dropping into the hard-hitting XFM chat. Maybe talk to Skinless Frank, see what he thinks.
I was going to say, that's kind of like... Nice.
How do I waste my money for the extra bonus content you go on about? Is it an app or something? So Liam has actually joined us. I've been in touch with him.
He did, yeah.
And he's donated on the Patreon page, which you can all do. If you enjoy this show, there's extra bits and bobs there for you to have on whilst you're hoovering.
Yeah. You really sold it to them. No, it's extra bit, and we will put video clips up there. But we won't. Yeah, I might put my stand up there.
Oh, when are these?
When exactly? When yours is going to be edited, mine's got to be filmed. You know, we're just faffing around. But yeah, no, thanks very much, Liam. Do join us on Patreon, other people as well. But thank you for your email. Really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Wet lettuce, I believe he's kind of goes by.
And I've always found the idea of wet lettuce a bit. That's his email name. I find that a little bit creepy, like the sort of wet lettuce. It reminds me of salad fingers. How creepy that.
Salad! Oh God, salad fingers. Yeah, that's from 20.
But no, like wet lettuce is like the most unenjoyable thing in the world, isn't it? Really, it's not very appetizing.
Well, I don't know. I like a bit of slimy leaves. It's kind of quite nice, isn't it? Like, so, I like cabbage.
Mate, the slimy leaf. The slimy leaf.
Stand up, the slimy leaf.
This is from Toby. Hi guys, I heard you talking in your latest episode about using a show up after listening to it too many times. Gary mentioned that he will listen to series 3 and 4 for a bit before returning to series 2, so that it sounds fresher. What I was wondering is, do you two listen to them in order or cherry pick random shows for the day? Me personally, I start on series 0, go all the way to series 4, then move on to the podcasts and guides too. It takes me around 3 to 4 months to get all the way to the end and start over again on series. It's definitely the best way to listen, in my opinion. What do you guys think? I love that as your life.
He's quit his job. He's quit his. He's got a highly paid job as an executive at a bank. He's quit it just to do that. I think that's a good way of doing it because it never gets stale because you're going in order. But I do cherry pick. I don't listen in order. I did at first, but now I don't. I pick and mix. Really, what do you do?
I'm a shuffler. I sort of tend to, because I've got them all downloaded as MP3s, I don't listen to like them on Spotify or anything. I tend to just like do the Wheel of Fortune and just plonk it. So what normally happens is I actually end up listening to probably a late series 2, series 3, 4. Like very, very seldom do I listen to like the series 1 episodes. I often have a real craving for series 0. Like there's just something I really want those raw. There's some brilliant raw bits in there, and they're the things I haven't heard. Although I've probably listened to them a lot, but nowhere near amount as all the other shows. So they still feel relatively fresh in their infancy. And when I say that, I mean I've probably listened to them about 50 times rather than the standard over 200. But we did put this out on our Twitter, so it was interesting to see what other people say. Traveling Blade says listen to XFM series 1 to 4 in sequence, then go all the way through to the podcast and specials in chronological order before starting right back again. He does it. Yeah, he does the same as Toby. Since November time, I've done them recent to oldest and then back the other way. That's quite a cool way of doing it. Like,
does it? Yeah.
And then the serious best ofs, and now I'm doing the Guardian ones. Literally now, use them to drift off to. And then this is from Mike Green. Yeah, people do listen. I haven't listened to the Deadly Serious Ricky Gervais podcast. I tried, and then I was just like,
not a fan.
It's just standard. Like, let's talk about atheism. Let's talk about Twitter. Let's talk about.
He talks about things I agree with, some of it, but I just don't like the.
Well, it's just repetition, isn't it? Mike Green, shuffle XFM 1 to 4, always mix up the shoddiness.
Yeah, good one.
And
Mike.
Scott says it would be a crime to listen to them on shuffle. Playing series 2 in sequence lets you fully appreciate the increase in Ricky's frustration and anger as Monkey News gets progressively more ridiculous.
I do agree with that, but I think once you've listened to it in order once already, you already know that. So you can then, I find I can then go back and cherry pick. I don't need to know the context of a particular episode because I kind of know what came before it anyway, because I'm so familiar. We all are so familiar with the shows and the series overall that I can now cherry pick. But at first, yes, listening in order is probably the best thing to do. But it's interesting that other people listen in order as well. That seems to be the consensus, or not the consensus, but most people listen in order and then back again.
We've put a few polls out actually on our Twitter Spinners podcast if anyone's interested, and I wanted to know the best song with a if Gary's interested. Sorry, yeah. Best song with a story. So I'm going to give you 4 because you can obviously only put 4 options on Twitter, and they were The Killing of Georgie, Babushka, Living for the City, and In the Ghetto. I've actually never heard In the Ghetto.
Oh, it's a song?
The Elvis Presley song, yeah.
Yeah, as a song, you've never heard the song, or you never.
Yeah. What do you think won out of those four?
Killing of Georgie, I'd reckon.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah, that's just I genuinely haven't seen that.
Which is a brilliant song. Do you have any favourite songs or stories?
Well, I would pick those. I mean, you picked a good four. I can't think of any others actually off the top of my head that there are. But it's She's Wonderful Tonight. Or It's Wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it? That's really my
have to say that is my favourite song of the story that Karl's ever done.
You know, it's just it doesn't get much better than that. As art, as a piece of art, just that line.
We put this out to the Detroutees on Twitter, and they did actually come up with some other songs with stories. I just want to these are their suggestions, and there's some really interesting ones, and I put them all on the playlist. I just want to see if you've heard of them as well.
Are these ones that have been done, or the ones that haven't been done that they would like to see done? Yeah, like to be done. So there's Lily, Rosemary, and the Heart of Jacks by Bob Dylan. No, don't know.
Camouflage by Stan Ridgway.
No, don't know.
It's really interesting songs that I've never heard of. Honey by Bobby Goldsborough.
No, I don't know any of the artists or the songs here.
Shipbuilding from Elvis Costello.
No.
El Paso, Marty Robbins.
No. Who's putting these out? Just random.
People on Twitter, yeah.
People just okay.
But lots of interesting requests. Yes. And we're about to do the same by putting 2 songs into our D-Trout Spinners library.
How many times can I put Wonderwall in a row? Yeah, I haven't got one this week, so I'm gonna have to think. No.
So basically, every week, Gary and I choose a song and we put it into our Spotify playlist, which is basically there could be anything, something that we've liked this to that week, or something that Gary can just literally think of the top of his.
I've thought of one.
Oh, thank God for that. What is it?
Ruin the show. Shall I do it now? Well, actually, this is because I saw a cover band of this band live, and I really liked the version they did of this song. They're very good, and it's funny because he was playing. It's the Rolling Stones, and he was playing Mick, and literally, it was kind of like something out of Phoenix Nights. That would be. At the end, he took off his wig. Then he took off like this jacket, and he was a tiny little man inside, you know. And he was kind of like he looked nothing like him. It's a common song, so it's not like a hidden gem or anything. But Paint It Black.
You've put that one in before.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Okay, well, because that shows that I'm not lying. Do you know what I mean? That shows at least that I'm being honest.
or that you've got no imagination at all.
No, that shows both those things, I think. Okay. Okay, I think I've put this one in before as well, but if I haven't, I want to put it in. Okay, I think I put it in though. You Can't Hurry Love.
You can't.
Yeah, I thought so. I only know 3 songs. Oh God, this is embarrassing. I'm looking around the room trying to find like cues songs. I've got some Vanish on the shelf over there. Some
Vanish.
Yes, does anyone vanish? I'd like to put in the Ballad of the Ferrero Rocher and Wooden Elephant, please. Okay. What's yours? Let's start with that. Start with easy.
Okay, I put in. It was a really sunny day the other day, and I went on a very long walk around Stoke Newington, where I live. And for some reason, I just was feeling like, I want to listen to some sort of quite rebellious music. I was listening to like this sort of pop punk playlist on Spotify. Those songs I used to grow up to and used to like mosh to, and you know, in those sort of indie nights that we used to go to. So I'm going to put in Fountains of Wayne, Stacey's mum, because I did.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Stacey's mum has got it going on. We have to pay for that now. You know that. We have to pay for the rights because you used it. I'm just going to go simple, right? Because I know I haven't used the Beatles twice. I used them last week. I'm going to use them again because I've been listening to a lot of the Beatles. So this is a song I've been listening to. Really good song. You know, it's nice, sort of reaching out. Sort of, it's a proper song that makes you think of that. And it's Help by the Beatles. And now I haven't put that in.
I'm just going to do a quick scan.
Okay.
Just do a quick scan. You got it in there. Well done, Gary. Yippee!
Whew. Yes, real.
Your memory is like shocking.
I know. I just don't remember.
I think one day, right, when we're older, I'm going to be pushing you around senile in a wheelchair.
Do that.
Well,
You'll be senile too. I mean, when I'm 76,
senile before you. I've had fun today, minus the technical glitches.
Oh, technical glitches. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to say as well, going back to text from the community, because I haven't replied yet in person, but it is in reply to an email we got. Rob Banks sent us his stand-up. He joined a stand-up course. He said because he listened to our show and we talked about stand-up and it inspired him to join the course, which was really lovely. Joined the course, did a set. I don't know if it was live to the course over Zoom or anything, but it was basically him in his living room because that's all you can do right now. And I just wanted to give some feedback on that. It was very, very good set. He was incredibly confident. Never lose that confidence in life. I wish I'd had that confidence when I was younger. Even now, I wish I had it. And very, good choice of material. A little bit COVID material in there. Got your COVID and you got your standard stuff, and it was good. I liked it a lot. But I will send you feedback probably in writing. Before the year is out at some point.
That was his my captain speech, his Robin Williams moment.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway,
so thanks, Rob, but thanks for sending it, and amazing job for your first time.
Absolutely, yeah, really impressive. And I think we haven't actually spoken to you guys since the new lockdown restrictions have been announced, so I hope you're all getting excited. I hope if you're homeschooling, I hope you're going to enjoy not having to homeschool anymore next week. Well, how are you feeling about the lockdown lifting?
Well, for me, I'm going to be doing the same sort of thing. I'll be working from home. It's a student. There won't be any change to my way of working until October at the earliest. Because it's the whole school term. They're just going for the whole term. So, it's just going to stay the same. I stay at home. I like it. I don't mind the restrictions. But I think they're probably being lifted a bit too early. But, in general, it's good. But I wouldn't rush back out. I'm keen to get the vaccine. Probably will be vaccinated in around May. And, after that, I think it would be good to get out and about.
Wow.
All right. Is that enough for you?
You'd be brilliant.
Sorry, can I just put in? I just reminded. I already want to put in Paint It Black as well to the.
It's all right. We'll put that in as well. I'd say I'm a bit more excited than you, but I do agree with you. I'm a bit hesitant. But hey, it'll be nice to go to a pub when we can sit outside and not have a cigarette in the garden. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, that won't be happening. There will not be no cigarettes happening. Yeah. Well, we'll see anyway. But no, you've done well, mate. I don't want to ruin it for you. But we won't be beating for a few weeks. It's gonna, we're gonna get back into it slowly.
Okay, right. Any final words, things to say?
No.
Okay. See you later, guys. Bye.
See ya.